Hi everybody, welcome back to Honeysuckle Homestead Retreat. I'm so happy you have returned. My name is Desiree, for those of you that are new to my channel. And basically, I live in Atlanta, but I have a tiny house up in the mountains where I'm slowly starting an off-grid farm. So that's a little quick rundown of what my channel is about. If you want to see a more in-depth description on my channel, just click on the link right up there. And it'll take you to the intro to my channel. I am really excited about this week's episode. So over the weekend, I was able to visit with a local goat farm and speak to the farmer about her goats. And I was able to ask her all sorts of questions, like what kind of breed she has, what she uses her goats for on the homestead, and a whole bunch of other questions. And I ended up asking her so many questions that the video ran a little longer than a typical episode is. So I have decided to turn this into a 3-part series. So this week you'll obviously be seeing part 1, and next week will be part 2, which covers how she milks her goats. So stay tuned for that. But this week's episode is just going to be covering some basic information, and you'll get to see, of course, all the little baby goats, which is really, really cute. Also, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to somebody. I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but down at the very bottom in my description on every video I have listed my cryptocurrency wallet addresses. And they are there in case anybody wants to tip that has enjoyed my content and wants to contribute to the channel. And I gotta give a shout out to someone. Someone actually did send me a Bitcoin Cash contribution, and it was very generous of them. So I had to give you a shout out, whoever you are out there in the cyber world. Thank you so very much. You are greatly appreciated. And for those that may want to send me a donation, you can either do it with cryptocurrency. I do not currently have a way to donate regular dollars yet, but I am working on it. But I do want to let that person know that I am grateful for that donation, and it is being used for advertising my channel. I am trying to grow my channel and get more subscribers and build it as much as I can. So I really appreciate that donation. Thank you so much. Okay, with all that said, let's go see some baby goats. Okay, we are here with Becca from
Caterwaul Creek.
which is a tongue twister for me.
It is, but it's named that for a very specific reason. Down in this nice swamp that we have here, the feral cats from the dumpster come down and scream.
I'm sure that's why they named it that.
Absolutely. No, you know, you gotta have a little humor in farming.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, I've got a few questions about your goats.
Yes.
First of all, how many goats do you have total? Adults, kids?
Maybe 30. Goat math is pretty hard, and if you have goats, you understand.
So basically 30 means 60?
Not that bad. It's not that bad. Not yet. I mean, we're having kids born every day, and sold every day, so it's a little tough to keep up with the numbers, but I do with certainty know that I have 15 does that are adults, that are the Nigerian Dwarfs, and I have 1 random La Mancha because they're cute, and then I have 3 bucks, all Nigerian Dwarf bucks. So the kids, the number fluctuates so much that there's really no point. Everything's written down for a reason.
And why did you go with Nigerian Dwarfs?
Well, they're pretty darn cute, but they are really popular right now. So when you're looking at, you know, business, you do want to actually get a goat that will make you some money if you're producing kids. Nobody wants to buy like a, let's say, Toggenburg buck as a pet, right? They're big. When you're looking at pets, your market for wethers or, you know, those castrated billy goats or bucks, sorry. You know, you gotta like pay attention to what you can actually sell. So that was a big part of it too. What's really interesting when you're choosing goat breeds is they do have very different personalities. Like my La Mancha is very quiet. I don't think they all are, but she is. And they just have a whole different, slower way about them than the Nigerians. They call the Nigerians like the Chihuahuas of the goat world. Like, they are rotten little things, truly. They're kind of rude. You can have a lot of them in a smaller area. If you have like bigger goats, you can't have as many of them. And I want a lot of goats. They have really rank personality, but it's kind of a fun thing to just be covered up in goats. I don't know, there's something about it that's so annoying, yet really enjoyable. Because they, will swarm you, eat your clothes.
What would be useful about goats in a homestead?
Well, definitely it's great to have, something for brush control. It's also nice, obviously to have fresh milk available. Like yesterday I made pudding and pasta with the goat milk that I got from my girls. And, that's another reason why looking at registered goats is actually a really good idea instead of buying those sale barn goats. You're going to know what you're getting genetically as far as milk production. If you're buying something that you don't have any history on, you have no idea how much milk that's going to produce, you're feeding the same animals. It's costing you the exact same amount of money. Why not invest a little bit more initially in something that you know is going to be worth your time? Like Redneck Woman, who I just bought. It's not a very pretty goat as far as her udder goes, but she has a really exceptional capacity. So she's going to be producing a lot of milk for me. And so that's a pretty strategic addition to my herd because I have a lot of does that have very structurally sound and pretty udders, but I don't have a ton of capacity. So I think she's really going to be bringing a lot to my breeding program that will make them more practical.
So you're breeding them to sell them and also for milk
for
production?
Milking, yeah.
Okay.
So we do focus our herd on the milk production and functionality aspect of these goats. Pet stuff is secondary. You do have to make a living, but at the end of the day, producing a good quality dairy goat that's going to be able to provide your family with a good amount of milk is super important.
Okay, and you show your goats too, right?
I do. We are dipping our toe into a lot of things. Showing is one of those things. It'll be kind of dependent on, time management, really. It does take a lot of time and effort to go into showing. Another option for having goats is going on milk tests. And that's a little bit more of a practical thing you can do to track your doe's production, but also when you accomplish certain things with your milk testing, you get notations on your paperwork. So that notates that your goat is exceptional at certain categories within that milk test. So that's something that I would really like to do this year. I do have a couple of does that I would really like to do that for. It technically does make them more valuable, and it does make your offspring more valuable because you are proving with a scientific method that your goat is actually a very good dairy goat.
So my question as maybe a future goat owner, how much do goats go for?
Goats can be quite expensive. However, you're making an investment in your time, basically. So registered goats are worth the investment because you're spending money on something that you know should produce a good amount of milk. If you spend less money, you may be buying from somewhere that is not providing you a quality animal. It could be sick. You're going to be spending a lot of money on vet bills, plus you may not get that milk production that you want. There are a lot of diseases in goats that can be extremely fatal, and we test for those and make sure that everybody's negative. Even though we buy from reputable people ourselves, we still do that testing to assure our clients and the people that I sell to that my goats are very healthy and they're not risking their herd at home. I don't ever want to be liable for someone's herd health being bad.
Yeah.
So spending a little bit extra money initially off the bat is super important just because you don't want to be spending that in the long run replacing your herd or on vet bills. But my goats run between $150 up to about $650. That number will increase as my goats become better. Lots of reputable breeders are up in the thousands. I know someone who bought a goat for $16,000.
$16,000.
$16,000. Yes. Wow. Now, that goat had exceptional bloodlines.
Had to have.
Yeah. And so I do hope that that is going to be a very good investment for that person.
I hope so.
Well, he is really pretty, and
was it a buck?
It was a buck.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people think that spending a lot of money on does is what's important, and it is important. However, when you're looking at improving your herd, the one thing that's going to do that is a really good buck. I have several bucks because as you look at the conformation and learn that of each doe, you will have different things to improve for each doe. So you'll need different aspects of every buck to improve those things on that particular goat. So having at least 3 gives you that option. You know, I've spent quite a bit more money on my bucks as I have my does. So definitely, you know, it's more important than people think that it is, really.
So how many bucks do you feel like you need just per doe in general, or does that really matter?
That doesn't matter. I mean, if you're a really small operation and you have like 3 does, it makes no sense to keep 3 bucks.
Okay.
You know, if you're trying to breed out and get a closed herd status, which means you're not bringing any new goats in, you do need enough genetic diversity and have enough bucks to do that and be able to breed and also line breed. That does happen a lot in goats as well.
Do genetic problems arise from line breeding?
It can. Either it works or it doesn't, obviously. Yeah. So line breeding basically involves inbreeding. You breed, you know, animals that are related to one another. However, either it's going to really strengthen some qualities that you have in your herd, or it's going to make everything a lot worse. And you'll know that pretty quickly. Yeah. But a lot of really reputable breeders do line breed with great success, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to do it in a really strategic and proper manner and make sure that you're not breeding to lesser quality goats to make like an even worse goat.
So about how many acres do you have here, would you say?
Sure, so we have 5 acres here. It's not very big in the grand scheme of things, but that's another reason why some of these like smaller breed animals are ideal for your small homestead. Again, you can have more of them. Or if you only have a few of bigger things, that's fine too. If you're just providing for yourself, you really don't need as many animals as I have. You know, we keep pigs as well, and we use those for meat production as well as piglet sales to pay for the feed that we put into the pigs. It almost covers everything, but not quite. So, you know,
you got some chickens too.
We have about 45 chickens.
Okay.
So just a couple. A lot of them are just kind of cute because I have an affinity for birds. I really like my chickens, probably actually more than anything else because they're so self-sufficient.
Yeah.
They keep everything nice and clean.
Do you kind of just let the chickens wander about? I mean, that seems to be what they do most of the time.
Right, so we do free range our flock quite a bit. They have a coop that they go in at night so they don't get eaten. But again, we have our dogs right next to that chicken coop. So if anything is around, they're not going to be around for long.
So who is this?
That is Sugar.
Hi, Sugar.
So she's one of our kids that we're keeping from our breeding this year.
It's common that they want to chew on you, right?
Yeah, that's they definitely do that. So she's always looking for a bottle even though she's not hungry. They get mouthy. Sometimes we find that annoying, but right now it's cute.